Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Good to see you again. This is game 7 of my Treasure Cup run. I was playing up against Nami, and I make a ton of mistakes in this match. I think that there was so many times I could have swung better, I could have played sequencing better and stuff like that, and I kind of want to highlight that because I know that Nami is a bit of a polarizing matchup, and, you know, playing into it can be a little awkward and weird at times. So I want to go over and just kind of explain, you know, my thought process on, you know, what the idea is on some of this, but also just kind of highlight like what I realistically could have done much better in this matchup. My opponent has a phenomenal start to the game, but a little bit of a rougher ending. So it, you know, it kind of lady luck sways in my direction towards the end of the game. But, you know, that is more or less what card games are all about at the end of the day. Also, before we hop into it, if anyone is interested in picking up a playmat here in the US, I do have a Labor Day sale going on right now on my website, TheLuffyTCG.com. You can pick up any playmat for, I believe, 17% off it is right now. And if you order 2 or more, it's even more. It's like 25, 28%. So thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for supporting me, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Now, to get into this match, I was 6-0 at this point in the Treasure Cup run. I'm playing up against Nami, and this actually happened to be a really dope, you know, supporter of the channel, but also a viewer on the, you know, Twitch channel. So cannot say thank you enough for, one, a fun game, but, you know, just getting to talk to everybody that I get to meet in some of these matches was so cool. And he does start off really nice, gets the Kaya going. I don't have a play on 2 Dawn. I didn't have like a brand new or a Sindri or anything like that, so I just decided to pass it over. He decides to go ahead and use Sanji's Pilaf on 3 Dawn. So this is actually pretty nice for me because now I know that I can more than likely just get a free life. So I'm like, all right, perfect. I can swing 7. Hopefully, if anything, play a Perona, but we were down bad. I had to mill a Kuzan. I didn't find anything either, so I just swing 7 here. He could give me a 2k 1k, which he does actually give me 2 apiece right here and does counter out of it, but definitely not a great start for us. I didn't have any like Absalom or potentially Perona to get into trash. Not even Hogback at this stage. I don't want to leave Kaya on the board though, so with the 6 Dawn, I did at this point have, you know, some way to remove the Kaya. I do think that this is extremely important to do before swinging every single time, because if I don't, then I'm just giving my opponent a free possibility of using Snake Dance to bounce it back and then keep using that Kaya over and over again. Now, one thing that I did correctly here was I did just pass. I didn't swing 5. My opponent had 2 Dawn. It would have just been free for my opponent, but that's the 3rd Sanji's Pilaf that he's seen. It's pretty good. That is a pretty good start for my opponent, but it does help us in a way because we're at 8 Dawn, and I know that my opponent has quite a hand. He's got like 7 or like 8 cards in hand or something like that. He does hit me with the Snake Dance, goes up to 6. Now, I think that I maybe should have started with the 7 for Sakazuki just to see if he would still use the Snake Dance or not. That way I don't give him like free value, but he does end up using, I believe this is the Gavel here to trash 1 and then mill 2. I see that he does have the Deathwink in his deck as well, so that is fairly relevant. I am going to hit Isho, which is perfect because he does have 6 cards in hand. I end up rolling a couple of dice to get this out, but I mean, this just worked out beautifully for us. So Sanji's Pilaf, you know, is more or less just kind of getting taken care of. I roll a 5 and a 4, so I get 2 cards out of there. Were they good? They were okay. I think I ended up hitting a Zeph, and it was like a... I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's Snake Dance, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think that the 5 right there first was correct. I believe that swinging 7 first would have been better, and then going, you know, 5 afterwards if potentially. but my opponent is going to trash 2 from hand using the Appease to pick up a Kaya. He was struggling to find Kayas in the early stages of the game, even though using 3 Sanji's Pilafs is pretty sick. But this leaves him with a pretty small hand size, and it also gives me an opportunity if I do have either another Sakazuki or excuse me, Absalom to get out, you know, some removal on these Kayas. But my opponent's got 1 card in hand, quite a lot of Dawn active. I don't have a way to probably remove both Kayas. I mean, I could arguably have another Sakazuki and drawn into an Absalom at this point in the game, but I would like to get rid of them. However, with my opponent at 1 card in hand, I'm not super weary of the fact that, you know, hey, it is what it is. They're probably going to stick on the board. I just have to remove them at maybe a later stage of the game. I do decide to just swing 5 here, knowing that my opponent only has the 1. He is going to rest 2, though. It is a pretty dang good one, though. Bouncing back the Kaya with Snake Dance, and that's exactly what I was talking about. So I think that at this point, if I was planning on playing an 8 cost right here, I think I could have just went 9-9, play an 8 cost. But I'm not entirely sure what I was going for. I end up going 11 here just to make sure that my opponent doesn't have it. But he actually ends up getting a Death Wink off the top of the life as well, which was more or less the worst card my opponent could have gotten right here. And I do just go ahead and put down Moria. So this whole turn, in my opinion, just got kind of botched. I think there were, you know, better swings that we could have done. Unfortunately, the top of the life was really solid for my opponent, but... And I finally do get an Absalom into trash, though, which is very helpful for us. I want to remove the Kaya the next turn. I don't want him to be able to bounce it, but after he's counting the deck, I think he had something like 17 cards left with 4 life. I'm sweating. I'm sweating at this point. I'm looking at myself like, man, he's had all of the Sanji's Pilafs to start and the Kayas. I need to swing better. I need to swing correctly. I need to be getting multiple cards out of hand, and I need to be going for maximum value. There's the 4th Sanji's Pilaf as well. Like, how are we going to win this match? This is not looking up for us. But nice thing is that one part, we finally have an Absalom, so we can remove the Kaya. We could also remove any Marguerites if they get thrown down. He's swinging 6 into life. I do give him a 2k counter. He wanted to get that free mill right there. And now I've got plenty of swings, but I need to be doing them correctly. Right here, in my opinion, he's got so much active Dawn. I believe only 2 cards in hand. Could potentially be 3. I believe it's only 2, though. And now I'm just going to start with a 9. I want to get 2 cards guaranteed or a life. We do get a life here, but he is hesitant, so it looks as though we're going to get a trigger. And unfortunately, this is something I didn't consider, but Deathwink does bounce back my Sakazuki. So if I wanted to swing with that first, I should have dedicated 2, knowing that my opponent had it in the deck already. So I should have swung 7 with Sakazuki, or I should have swung 9 with it there to, you know, allow either Kuzan or something else to be bounced back, or he potentially keeps. I still have all my Dawn up, though. My opponent did, I believe, end up getting like Usopp's rubber band right there off the trigger, or was it Gavel? It might be Gavel. But nonetheless, these triggers have been pretty rough for me so far. And I do end up going with Stussy here. Now, this was a bit of a weird play, knowing that I had Absalom in trash. I don't love this. And I give my opponent Desert Spada by swinging 5. So, like, the reason I wanted to upload this match was because I felt like I played it terribly. And it felt like I got really lucky that my opponent didn't see certain pieces. Because otherwise I should have like 100% lost this game. I'm deciding whether I want to swing 6 or not, and at this point I wouldn't. I would just pass. If I'm not swinging 7 or 9, I shouldn't be swinging right here at all. It just seems like a pretty free Usopp's rubber band, Gavel, or White Snake. He does have like 2 or 3 cards in hand, but he does take. And funny enough, you know, my camera is going to be covering it right now, but my facial reaction right there was when he took was pretty surprised. I was like, wow. I was shocked that he took that. I thought I was just going to be getting at least something out of hand, but with 4 in hand now, he does see another Kaya, is going to, you know, mill out some cards, does end up trashing 2 Impel Down All-Stars right here, and uses Buggy to set up the bottom of his deck, which is really nice. Obviously, you still get a draw, but it's setting up like what you know that you're going to draw into it towards the, you know, the end of the game, which is essentially the following turn. Yeah, this is pretty close. I think that, you know, he still has quite a lot of cards in his deck to get through, you know, within potentially 1 to 2 turns, which is pretty scary for him. But he is going to pick up the Dawes Bones, reorganizes everything a little bit, and Dawes Bones at least is going to allow him to grab that Gum Gum Gavel, which I know is going to be a huge pain for me. He can look through his deck and just kind of know what cards to expect in the rest of his deck as well. So, you know, the trash off of Gavel is, he could either time it right to where it's going to hurt or help him. We are just going to see a 5 with Nami going into the Kuzan. Very easy counter. But now passing, has 4 cards in hand and like, yeah, 7 Dawn up. So I like that we have 3 9Ks, but at the same time, I know my opponent has the ability to probably get out of many of them. So I just have to think about how I want to swing correctly here. I think I was going through and asking him in his deck at this point in time, like how many snake dances he had and some other cards, because I was kind of going through like, all right, what are the odds that he bounces back Kaya? Do I need to, you know, prioritize removing that? If I swing 7, even potentially 9 with leader using effect to bring back Absalom, I'm KOing the Kaya, which doesn't allow him to bounce it back, and potentially, if he can survive this turn, win the next turn off of just, you know, playing Kaya and milling the rest of his deck out. So there were a few things that were going through my mind right here, and that is, you know, that's one thing that I'm definitely considering is Absalom, get rid of Kaya, but I do end up deciding to just go 9 with Kuzan. I didn't want it to get bounced by another Deathwing potentially, so we are just going to swing 9. He hits me with a Snake Dance, so he gets to draw 1, goes up to 6, and now he can either use the Gum Gum Gavel, which he is going to do, milling the Marguerite. Lucky for us, though, it gets rid of another Gavel and a Love Beam, so I'm actually pretty ecstatic about that. I know that I still have plenty of swings that can get through and connect. He's only got 4 Dawn left as well, so I'm just going to swing another 9 here. He's got 3 cards left in hand. He hits a Snake Dance, bouncing back the Kaya, and I believe that I actually messed up right here, forgetting that he's a 6K leader, and so I didn't really do my math correctly. I was thinking that I probably would have been fine just swinging 9 because he's a 5K, but I just didn't, you know, think about the dice on there. So God, there's so many mistakes that I should have done better, but that's why I like to highlight these, because even though well, it's kind of a spoiler at this point, but even though I do actually end up winning this match, it's borderline very, very lucky. But I get the Kai out of his hand with the 6K at least. I know that with 2 Dawn, I can swing pretty comfortably. And he does get a Desert Spada, which allows him to draw 2, I think trash 1. Yeah, so he trashes an Impel Down All-Stars, and then I swing 12 for game, and we end up getting it. He only had a Usopp's Rubber Band and a Desert Spada left, which just wouldn't get him there. But it was way closer than I wanted it to be. I think that I could have played this match out so much better. There were countless mistakes that I think I got very lucky that my opponent didn't see, you know, certain cards at certain times. I think that the E-Show was actually pretty crucial. I think that whole turn could have been done slightly better, but it actually ended up going pretty well for me. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this match, you know, and if you guys struggle with the Nami matchup, the best thing that I've learned is swing 7, swing 9, get 2 cards out of hand each time. That's what you're going for. But hope you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.